Hello and welcome to another video on my channel. Today we shall discuss how to pick your legions, but we are not doing all the legions because that would be quite a long video, and I don't want you to sit on the screen for like 30 minutes trying to pick your legions. So now we go through the first 6 legions, and now we start with the Dark Angels. So the Dark Angels in the Horus Heresy, other than the Dark Angels in Warhammer 40k, have a black color scheme and are very knightly, that are also known as masterful swordsmen. And they have a little knack for experimental weapons. You see, the Dark Angels were the first legion of the Imperium. They were the first legion, and that means they had all the experimental weapons, and all the early Crusade legions before their Primarch were fashioned some way or another after the Dark Angels. So the rules, they are not complete. We are waiting for Book 9 to release. And because of the Corona thingy going on, COVID-19 thingy, we might need to wait a month longer or two. So yeah, the Rights of War are mostly for their wings, like the Iron Wing. Their vehicle wing has a Right of War, and their Raven Wing. The Raven Wing is pretty similar to the Raven Wing in 40k, so it's basically it's samey. It's not basically the same, because in 30k you obviously have jet bikes. But yeah, so also the rules. The rules we have now are kinda lacking, because you have the molecular acid shells for heavy bolters, which means you have you have to re-roll for every heavy bolter the AP every turn. So if you fire a heavy bolter, you have to roll its AP. It doesn't have the AP of 5. That's good and bad, and because you have to do it for every heavy bolter on its own, it's like if you have a 10-man heavy support squad, you just roll 10 dice for the 10 heavy bolters. I think in Book 9 it would be just for the unit that uses the heavy bolter. Pretty much everybody expects that. They have the Calibanite Warblade, which is basically a power sword, which gives you +1 strength. Then you have the Tyrannic Greysword, which is a +2 strength, two-handed, AP3 instant death weapons. So demons, watch out, they will kill you. Also, they have a weapon called the Plasma Caster, which they are allowed to replace every plasma gun with, but the rules are kinda meh, so we expect them to have better rules in the coming book. So then we have they have like some special units, but I will go into more detail when the Dark Angels Tactica video is coming. So then we have the Emperor's Children. The Emperor's Children, with their flamboyant purple color scheme, have a very perfectionist attitude at the early Crusade. So they are not the debauchers of 40k quite yet. Quite in the early heresy, they are not. After Fulgrim Ascends, though, they fall deep. They rose too high, and they fall the deepest, I would say. The Emperor's Children. They are master duelists, so they favor duels, and they favor fast warfare. fast surgical perfect strikes. The rules for the Emperor's Children are, if you have seen my other videos, a little bit underwhelming. They are a Book 1 Legion that really suffers from being a Book 1 Legion. They have the Crusader rule, so they get +1 to charge and +1 to roll, which is nice. And they get +1 initiative if they charge. That's very good for alpha strikes, but like if you get charged, you are in a bad spot, especially with your special weapon, the Phoenix Spear, which is on the charge actually a good weapon. +1 strength, AP2 at initiative, very nice weapon. But if you get charged, it's just a power sword. So the Emperor's Children are very alpha strike heavy, and you want to charge the enemy, otherwise it will be hard for you to win the game. Now we come to the Iron Warriors, my personal favorite legion. They have a silver color scheme with hazard stripes, and they are the unrivaled masters of sieges. They are the best at being besieged and besieging. They favor the use of artillery, and then they charge the breaches in the walls they have destroyed. The Iron Warriors are a grim and paranoid legion because of the battles in the Great Crusade they had to endure. People on the Crusade and Heresy server said that they like the Iron Warriors because they are so independent and non-reliant on others, and that's basically also one reason why I like the Iron Warriors. And the tragedy behind the Iron Warriors is also something I very much like about the Iron Warriors, because you saw the potential in warsmiths like Barabbas Dantiok, and then you saw what happened to them later in the Heresy. So now we have the Iron Warriors, the White Scars, sorry, we have the White Scars. That's actually my second favorite legion and my loyalist army. The White Scars have a white color scheme with red honor markings, or red markings. They take heavy inspiration from Mongol steppe people, so from Turkic people basically, and also like all over the place Asia kinda. So they have like something overall Asian. So they have some Chinese, some Japanese influence, but the main influence is the nomads of Northern Asia. Also, they are like, as we all know, they like to go fast. They are the masters of lightning strikes and mounted combat. Not horses and maybe war elephants like in the humanity of old, but jet bikes and land speeders are their favorite vehicles of choice. The White Scars have the swift action rule, which means if they move their full complement of inches, they can reroll wounds of 1 when shooting, or melee. So they can do both. They can reroll if they just move 6 inches or 12, or whatever the movement characteristic is. They reroll once to wound. This is a very good trait, I think. And also they have the possibility to increase their jinx saves. So they get better jinx saves if they jink with bikes and jet bikes, which is also nice. The Space Wolves of the Horus Heresy have a grey color scheme and take heavy inspiration from Vikings. So when you have the 40k Space Wolves, they basically call everything wolf, right? Wolf priest, wolf that, wolf this. The Vikings don't do that. The Vikings obviously don't do that, but the Space Wolves also don't do that. The Space Wolves have their captains designated as Jarls. They have the priests of Fenris, so no wolf priests. They have a lot of shamanic influence, like the 40k wolves, but dial up the Viking part to 11, decrease the wolf part to 3, and that's how you have the wolves in 30k. Like in 40k, at least in 7th edition, I'm not that versed in 8th edition. In 40k, in 30k, they are very good at combat. So they are a very strong combat legion, and they favor infantry over vehicles. It's not like they are against the use of vehicles, but the close confined spaces and helmets make them feel uncomfortable. Like feral creatures, really. Now to the rules. The Space Wolves trade the Tactical Space Marine for Greyslayers, which are basically melee veteran tacticals, but in the troop slot they don't get 2 attack space, that is true, but they have access to all kinds of melee weapons, like power fists, power weapons, power axes, maces, and so on. And that's their shtick. Also, they have the Warrior's Metal rule, which means they get +1 weapon skill when they charged an enemy, so that's actually good. You hit the enemy better, then you also get access to power weapons. And they can also use the Howl of the Death Wolf, which means that you can run and charge at the same turn. So the Space Wolves, even though they favor the infantry over transport vehicles, you can also use transport vehicles, but they favor it in the lore to foot slog. In the game, that's represented that they will get into melee even though if they have no transport vehicle. The Rites of War, for example, the Pale Hunters, removes your heavy support slots, so takes away a couple of your heavy support slots, but makes you use the Howl of the Death Wolf twice, and makes your melee better. So that's the shtick of the Space Wolves. Now we talk about the 7th Legion Imperial Fists, stalwart defenders of the Imperium in a yellow color scheme. So the yellow from the Imperial Fist is actually, I've always seen 2 kinds, like the very bright yellow, the almost golden yellow, and then this weathered, washed down yellow. I like both. Both look amazing. They are masterful fortificators, so they are good at getting besieged, but their true strength lies in void warfare. The Imperial Fists are the masters of void warfare, as you can see in the Battle of Fal. The rules of the Imperial Fists is they get +1 when firing bolter weapons, so bolters, bolt pistols, heavy bolters, combi bolters, but only the bolter part. You catch my drift. When they fire bolters, they hit at 2 up, more likely than not. Then their heavy weapon squads get Tank Hunter which is pretty good. Like getting tank hunter on every squad is a nice thing to have. Other legions have to get a siege breaker for that. Their characters always need to challenge, because the Imperial Fists have a martial tradition in melee. So they are a good mix between melee and shooting. And then you have the rites of war for them are like the Stone Gauntlet Rite of War, which means that all Breacher Marines get +1 toughness if they stand next to each other. And the Breacher Marines are really one of the totem units, I say, for the Imperial Fists. Okay, that was it with the video. Thanks to the people of the Crusade and Heresy Discord server for telling me why they liked the Legion and why they picked them. This has been didnt with another video. Thank you for watching. Like or dislike, share, comment and subscribe. Have a nice day.